Thank you all so much. Respects be to you. I'm Grant Tolamont, the Red Belt and Sujus at Law. Chief Priest Yehuda Rubenisis Raya Harris, or you might know Yehuda. Much respects to you all. You all know that Yehuda and Lamont sort of have the same definition. One means lawman, lawyer, one who's versed or learned in law. It's the definition of most of your Europeans in terms of the Lamonts. They were sheriffs as well. Lamont, it means lawman as well. Also in the English and the French and the Spanish, the 13 original colonies had Lamont as lawman, sheriff. And you have some good gloves called Lamont's Wells as well. Please mute your phone, please. We're live. Please mute your phone. Thank you so much, good men that have joined in. Those that else can join, fine. We're running a parallel. On yesterday, we were talking about a word recognize, and I am in uniform. Okay. It's a rainy day and it is dim. Okay. I may try to put on a light bulb. I don't have time to be a pretty man. You get what I'm saying? Some men are pretty. No disrespect. Okay. You can be pretty. But today, I'm not pretty. I have what you may call my Sharif shirt on, and I have my full gear. I had to go outside. Make certain that you contribute, and I'll take this moment here before I get to this. Michael Watts, he was able to bring forth someone that desires to take on the responsibility of bailer, excuse me, as a bailiff or a deputy per this jurisdiction. So we have a certain protocol in terms of venting or bringing people in. You all will not be privy to that, okay? I will get with him after that, but I'm going to make this a class very much universal since the Uniform Commercial Code is so or such. I will share with you being responsible is the number one protocol. Self, you must put in front of it. The adjective describing or that specific action variable if you want to go to the grammar, okay? The subject matter of this situation is one to be bonded, to come into a jurisdiction. When I say bonded, to leave the mindset of what deficiencies, of what they may not know, or let me put it this way, not so much deficiencies, but the psychology must be the main focus of adjustments. You cannot, with any of the grammar or wordplay or in and out daily lives, any type of cognitive relations, forget at any time that you're an Aboriginal. Just like a colonist does not forget that. And of course, you have a 1776 seal, Great Seal Perseverando, right? That seal is the anti-slave clause, anti-slave seal that the United States Corporation Company, when I say that, people that are fraternized or fraternal within that capacity of a college, okay, of a collegial or collegial fraternal order. It's within the very code of Virginia, a very well-written code. However, Virginia is exposed for being under default, as every corporation is so. So we must have the proper psychology of one stepping forth here, coming out of a fictional word or world wordplay, legal jargon that may have put one at a disadvantage. It is so skilled and sophisticated unknowingly per the public sector. Most people are sometimes tranced or taken into the very channel of the psychology. And of course, that will start from grade school on up to what we may call one being graduate. Okay. We're talking about a United States or an American school system that may be an institution, but sometimes peculiar institution. When I say peculiar institution, people, I'm saying that they may have a motive or an agenda beside the skill set that they're offering your child. Okay. Peculiar institutions, most of the time, were labeled as those that were collegial or colonial, that had desensitized itself to those that were melanated, those who had bronze or copper tone or woolly hair to their skin. The curricula per the skill set had come with slavery, or they were slaves, or we be reminded that they were on the James River at one time. You know, each specific collegial situation will sort of have their courses and curriculums and whatever type of itineraries or documentaries or comprehension exams or whatever type of model that they have, system of education, most of the time would have what you may call a psychological undertone. Okay? So this is what we were talking about in terms of recognize yesterday. Then I'll move from that because I wanted to be clear that I do respect Caucasian people. They are very much active here on this post, and I did say something about a British male, and I wanted to make that clear in terms of the recognize. I was saying that the British white male or that Pacific British male that had come here illegally, there was a trespass that had come up on the land. And I'm not Powhatanian, much respects I'll be to them. Powhatan, they, all of them, I love them. I've gone to the reservations. All nations powwow, much respects to Powhatanian, the people, and Powhatan. However, I'm the Aboriginal Seminole, which is ancient primordial, before those words had spewed from colonies or even the people that were here, going back maybe 15 or 50,000 years. No, I identify with the time that exists when the planet itself was being fashioned. Okay? This is what we are here. We must give the total reverence and the total respect to that origin of system of education that would be grander than the public. And this is why we have come to make certain that the psychology is appropriate. It is not inaccurate. It must be done by a woolly head catty people or woolly head people. When I say that, because the description in the archives per the United States is copper tone woolly hair. Okay? Now we may have certain grains of wool. Some may be a little bit more shinier, more cotton. Some may get a little bit more coarse. Some may have a wave pattern. Some may have more of a lock spiral growing up. You see? However, we are here first. And now to the word recognized on yesterday, it says, for the one who determines the matter in truth. That truth, you have to fine tune that word. Truth to everybody is not the same. You see, truth can be in terms of a moral standing, a perception of what may be moral per that nation, tribe, society, or clan, or republic, or system of them membership. What is the morality of their oneness? What is the what keeps them together? That isolates or separates you from them. That would be called a license or some type of papers that are presented to discuss or discriminate, or shall I say, discuss or you distinguish. That's the proper word, to distinguish you from what does not pertain to the I. And recognize has been misused by colonial entities in a peculiar instituted fashion that was driven by that undertone of not being fair to the origin of people that may not have been slaves, okay? And also not being considerable to the fact that those who may be Indians here that identifies with that, some of the heritage were annihilated by Dr. Plecker, and of course that took place with the Virginia Company. You can get a book, Wes Craven. You see how I'm keeping consistency with how they are defined in my teachings or sharing with people. So 1606, they were dissolved. That's the permanent standing. So when I talk about Virginia and I say I love them, it's because I'm considerable to those that are of something that had taken place and they got stuck, okay? I can make it bad or antagonistic, but I would not. Them I love and I care for them. The good people of Virginia may not have known all of this. Maybe they did, and the great ones did because we did serve them. They are not indemnified. And those that did perpetrate acts of criminal malfeasance, common law cheats against I, you are not indemnified. You are sued in your retirement. See, Tip lightly because you will not hide. I am connected to the oversight of revenue on all continents, connecting and extending to your Lord treasuries, your governors as well. For I do not take advantage of this position. It is very sacred. That's why I give my utmost respect to your governor and to the good people of Virginia, as do I do all of the 13 original colonies that are corporate united in their trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. That's what we have done here. The spell has been broken. You are not going to say anything. Oh, dear brother, Millinus one. Millinus, you had not Millen, but I love you. I am your Millen, planet Earth brother. For you are here, have not been at any time, brought up, as I suspect, in what you may call a resolution. So I'm not talking about you, white man or white woman. You know that is impossible. For you see my family, my wife, my grandchildren, these ones. Okay? So I respect these family. We had to come together to piece this out. It needed to be a woolly head cat, someone that's not scat. One does not run from that. I had to run to you. And the salvation is presented to the world via the great seer Perseverando 1776, that they all took an oath extended to all continents that they were not slave. Now, I'm not making irrelevant other kings and queens. I'm dealing with a situation here that no king and queen has presented itself to us as the Aboriginal indigenous body here that brought forth the matter of unraveling such to bring forth us this salvation that we do have today. The letters and numbers were written. We have a registered agent that has been existing ever since 1892 that was kept from you. You have 1930 when there was a default that did not respect the fact of the Uniform Commercial Code coming into play, connecting to the 1930 Geneva Convention binding all continents 100% to an arrest warrant if they breach the 1930 Geneva Convention Uniform Commercial Code, Article 1. You're not to do so. So the states went under bankruptcy, and it was not for any more Mohammedan or Muslim or Muslim. It was not for any Hebrew. Much respects to all of you, my brothers and sisters, but it was not for anyone else to misrepresent what was already taken care of. It was put in place that corporations were bound not to slave you. They were dissolved. So there were Mohammedans and Muslims that I do have on file that knew this. And they wanted to teach you something else. I have on file Christians that were very educated in their ecclesiastical order, and they did not share these things with you. All of the Christian sectors and creeds that had come out of that, whether they were shrine men or women, that had led to other situations that were lesser, they all, at a certain level, knew this. So that I stand here proudly before the world, transmitting to you from the great seer Perseverando, keeping to the perfected anti-slave clause. That's why I'm perfected at commerce. See, which distinguish I from the outcasts, those that are financial. Financier, Frenchman from elsewhere. See, that's not for this specific woolly-head cat man. Here, Kadesh Treaty 1259 did not include you, man. You are illegal. But we made the best of it in 1930 Geneva Convention. So the states, carefully, tread lightly. You must know that if you disdain your mindset to walk away or think not, that you, being defined as employee, which is a synonym to obligor, to the Uniform Commercial Code, I expressed the title to you yesterday. The example is the great relationship that I have with the state of Virginia, Sic Semper Tyrannis, Sic Semper Tyrannis. This is Perseverando. Perseverando. This is what you swore to. You see, so the 1930 Geneva Convention syncs up with the spirit of this specific 1774. Liberties, guaranteed. Much respects. It is not a racist issue. It was salvation for all people. And it says that this bond encompasses all of the continents within the borders of planet Earth. We may say Gaia, key time at. Much respects to you, mother. Oh, mother, you support us so good. We thank you so much. So here we are now. I'm trying to see why I do not have a clock on this specific medium. Okay, but anyway, it will pop up and let I know. Okay, so I wanted to correct those issues today on a sunny day. Excuse me, on a rainy day. I meant that I'm dreaming for the sunny, but I got my big rain hat on, and this is a big rain hat. You see? Oh, this is bigger than what you may call 10-gallon. But anyway, your sheriff is on post here, Sharif, that is, and you may know I as grand or the grandest marshal in terms of being the greatest terms at serving the least among us. You see how I reduce myself? Is what? The greatest. I must try my best to serve every day. You have a duty also to look out for your neighbor. You must respect and honor your neighbor's family. You don't have to render all your seeds of what may be falling sometime from your table. Or you may invite them over to share. But you have an obligation if that child is running wild and the mother and the father's in distress, or the child may be away. You may check out the school bus. You, mother and father, you have a duty to look out of the window and to make certain if you see the school bus, make certain that there are children that you can identify. If you see an adult that does not look right, or cars swerving around the children, you have a duty to be nosy. Save your children, save the community, okay? Please make certain that the little girls and boys are not snatched up, they're not taken away, not to be put in sexual brothels. This is what they're doing. They want to have their way with these ones. We have to make certain that we love them and care for our communities. If you see a stray dog, my wife did say, make certain respect, you got to call the animal control people, okay? Please make certain that the community is safe. All right? Do that. Also, if the drains are cluttered outside, if the drains are cluttered, your duty is to unstump your parcel, your allotment in the city. Keep your drains clean, man and woman. If you see leaves pile up, get you a fan, big rake. Rake up your section, not the whole block. Each house participate. You would keep your block clean. Your duty is to take trash and put it in the trash can. If you see cans or trash bottles and they're in your way, keep a sanitized or tough glove, okay? May not be safe for everyone to pick up. Everyone may not do this to pick up, but marshals and people that are neighborhood watch, and you have a duty to everyone, clean up, to pick a date. You don't have to have a cookout. Have a clean out day. Everybody get together on Saturday. Put the music out. Feed each other and clean up your hoods, man. Clean up your places, people. Much respects to you. Make where you live safe and beautiful. And make certain that when you go to the stores, that you're contributing. Don't stand in the stores, man, if you have not medium of exchange. Okay? You may get set up vagrants, laws. You're not to go in there, just looking in. You want to make certain that you call the clerks and the clerk's woman's bluff. You want to contribute to the store. Have an idea of what you want to get before you go there. You see? Makes everything beautiful. Much respects. Clerks, when you get to the stores, be ready to serve the people. And don't be shy and sleepy, okay? If you want to get work, if you want to get paid for nothing, don't come to work, okay? Don't come to work falling asleep because you might get yourself injured. This is why they don't want you to be sleeping on the job, okay? For those that have jobs, all right? Much respects to you all. And for the human population, do not be upset with AI. You have EI as well, intelligible situations as well. You got artificial intelligence and you got emotional intelligence, as I. So I'm sensitive to you, and we know what's going on. So I respect robotics and electronics. I got a background in that, and some of these inventions will help you. Okay, so don't look. Everything can be bad or good, but remember, AI is a calibration of certain memorandums of certain processes of multiple situations to bring about. And they may say learn. No, what it's doing is sort of, you could kind of use that word, but that's more of an organic term. I would say it's sort of calibrating, like what would happen and the predictions of, and how we would respond and the knowledge and pertaining to that. And, it's a very effective tool. Okay. But remember, you can speak back to AI and tell it what to do, and it's going to stick to the memorandum that predates those that are tricky. Okay. You comprehend? Because you have inventors and everybody's spirit is not pure, right? Everybody that invents, but you cannot invent any public hazardous situations. And I added private or private. Okay. All righty. So recognize again means subject to control. And it talks about the subject matter of those who must determine the truth on the matter. So you would not take a common law matter to a statutarized situation and think that you're going to have a relationship with a statutarized judge that is colonialized in a district court or circuit court. Sometimes they are prejudice, okay? But the point is, without prejudice, I say, being that, you must know that the states were not going to teach you that you had a choice not to come to court, not to appear. They didn't do that. All right. The supervisors went on a public broadcast. I think it was NPR. You might can do a research, and they brought up that summons only means a request to appear. He said that on television, contrary to what I've experienced in many here, when Virginia attacked them and forced them to come in to buy a capias. So they're not doing that now because Belton is up as the grand marshal over the accounts. Okay. All righty. But Virginia was very bad behavior at one time. Very bad. And that's why they got the capital situation. And it was very much slaving here in terms of the institutions. They did you wrong. You were not going to have a high position here, not unless you play as Fret. That was just that. Okay. Now, let's get into the situation with the Michael Watts here. And I'll share this when it pops up 10 minutes. This will not be for the general populace, but Michael Watts has a one who has presented a feminine energy here, meaning that he brought forth a female or feminine energy, one who would like to be able to join the other females or feminine goddesses per this jurisdiction. Okay, I must talk the de jure, life living, no misrepresenting. I'm the bondholder over all those other systems out there, correct? And what you're transmitting from. You can test it whether it's this specific platform or not. You have a utility in the ground, and of course, 100%, you know what is going on with the utilities. Okay, so we have here a system that we have to be responsible when you introduce anyone. So we have like a what you call not like a vouch system. That means that the one is vouched for by somebody. I'm not saying paid for on paper and all that. I'm talking about I'm speaking well for this person, this being. I'm speaking well for this one that would like to be able to join or like to become a member, or even it's safe to say sui juris, sui generis citizen, okay, at law. What happens is in the past or past times, when I first started over 20 years ago, there was a situation where I was happy. You're always up. You take all of this stuff, people coming in, and you grow. You're so loving, all of that kind of stuff. It wears down after the 14th year. You begin to comprehend people may waste your time and your energy. And I hadn't started off enlightened in the beginning all the time. But I made certain that I respect the colonial systems in terms of what they got so that this is not entirely what you may call foreign to anybody, And this is what's missing most of the time with the Nubians, the melanated groups here that were in the Americas that had started out offering training, and they would come, and everybody didn't get to this specific level, you see. But the training itself emphasizes the self-responsibility of what's necessary in terms of the vouch man. That's the only way that you will initiate sovereignty is self-responsible. So if you're going to get welfare from the state, well, it's sort of contested as though that you can't take care of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. The meeting will be ending in 10 minutes. However, I will continue to go forth, okay? And we'll get to anything. I will be speaking to Michael Watts privately, but he would get the basis of this. I'm doing this uniformly so everybody would know pertaining to this office here. So this is an official desk judicially. It is not recognized by the state or the feds. Remember, I recognize them to subject them to this control, how they are defined under bankruptcy. They don't act with I. So they act with those who have less education, who have not given themselves the love or the time or the respect that you need to have if you're going to engage with certain entities on planet Earth. You're going to have to get to how to handle them because they were taught to be desensitized, dehumanized, to have this anti-human, anti-constitutional, anti-social, need to be put in prison mindset that they got. See, and the reason why I ran that way is because we were molested via public sector that had this mindset to degenerate you to be in a human resources position. In fact, I saw an AI now is the manager over a human, an organism, and the organism is intelligent and say he don't understand why AI is bringing him in on the weekend to do what you may call an assessment of his behavior on the job. The AI said to him, uh, well, I got you here on Saturday because this and that is maybe not be typically known, but and the AI got rude with him like he was a servant. And this is coming from the mind of that one who programmed the AI, which again, most likely is a colonial mentality because the AI is not itself. It spoke a recording of its master creator and said, I'm not entirely controlled of my situations, meaning he can't rebut to him. If you have a matter, you have to take it up with my creator. Okay, AI, so you just spoke in his own record. So the human what should have gotten his ass up and walked out the door because you are not in a position. You must be a judge or be able to communicate with your peers. The AI is not your peer. See, this is the trick that they're putting certain people in. You keep depending on it. It is only like a calculator or some type of device that will be used to assist you, God, or assist you, Goddess, to assist you, not depending on it, you sucking your thumb, shaking, and all of that because it's not speaking to you today. It's unplugged. Y'all, exactly, that's you. Those people, well, that's not assured thinking, and 100% you're not bonded. So when we're talking about bonded, meaning that you comprehend that you are interacting on planet Earth alive with other organisms and that you're responsible not to collide with them. If so, there is a collision, then you must put forth the effort to make that right instantaneously, which would be a sui juris, that citizen, normal law, sound mind, jurius paratus, a perfected citizen at juristic, at jurist, studying basically how to love its neighbor, how to be responsible, and to not be in everybody's business, to be tained only to what pertains to him and his house. See, one who manages their own affairs is the citizenry. However, the sui juris would always make certain that it is kind and respectful at the markets, and it will contribute to the marketplace. It would not be a burden. It would be on its best behavior. So these are the type of people that we desire here. No one else, nothing less. When they get referred here or to this specific judicial desk, Grant or Belton, I must see that they are mastered at their skill set elsewhere. I'm not. You would be smarter and enlightened in that. Correct. However, here, I am to bond you or secure you, and then you go back to where you were in your profession, and then you would see what, on the basis of laws, where it could be better, and you have a better situation here at the domestic level because the state you couldn't do anything with because you were of a nature. See, nature. See, you were of natural, and the processing is not friendly to that. You see, it's not designed for that. So you have an OS system at the domestic level, See, this is why the bailiff got to make certain that they respect the facts of what I'm saying, because I'm not in contrast or competing or conflicting or violating the protocol of the very word itself. You see, so I have a responsibility at the operational system at 1-500, which is sovereign, meaning self-responsible. You get it? See, so the state could not do letters of apostille, as I was saying, to whom? To what fiction that would be inquiring about the Aboriginal? See, that is solely organic. Is it the secretary of the colonial governor over top of the Gayos, the workforce, the colonial governor, that secretary? Or is it the secretary liberius that respects the origin of what is primordial and comprehend that it stays consistent with the organs like they have up at the United Nations that distinguish you from the fictions? The fictions are not organs. Indigenous is from, coming into, but can be synonymous to Aboriginal, but it's not Aboriginal title. And sometimes falls to certain places that may try to read, but they can't recognize. So we are here to make certain that that indigenous that was tricked at the United Nations on the word indigenous will comprehend that something existed before that, primordial. So whether the grammar syntax part say whatever you think that is wrong, I challenge people because they wanted us to separate from all of the Aboriginal title securities. They were not on my watch. So I got the first post up here, and it is very much alive, up, and integrated militarily to the Divine International Portfolio, Honorable Lee Clegg, Royal Martial Authority, life. It's there. That's the fact. All the nations and queens and kings are on this gate because they respect that we love, we do not hate. See, so that's why they're here. And the 1% now has some ability. They're not as bad as most people think. Maybe you thought. I'm not saying that they are, but there is a communication. And it is not through the mouths of certain men and women that are in temples and mosques trying to keep people there by saying that they met them or they have an idea. They do not have an idea. So this is a high level post, and I expect nothing else but greatness. No molestation and violating of anyone. So the vouch man and vouch woman knows 100%. You don't spring nobody on I and drop them off here in the bailiwick. You would make certain that you call out first, and you would have all of the extending articles or utensils that's necessary per your domestic post bailiff. Once you being here, coming here, right? You would have others, and you would have those papers there, and you would get them fundamentally extended, and they would be able to convey their signed natures and everything that they need. They're coming to the jurisdiction on your post. You're going to watch over that. Okay, and the monies as well. This jurisdiction has a respect for every nation and every country that it issues money. There must be oversight because people are going to always think that they can be criminal with what was created with good. And we have a force in place. So don't get pretty here. This is a high level type security. We have brought forth the necessary situations to discharge, to settle debts, to not circulate what you may call common law cheats. We have not defrauded you people. We have brought forth the salvation that's necessary that was extended to us, to you. However, you must be self-responsible. No one is doing this for you, and I must keep consistent with sui juris. Much respects to you in the highest, transmitting for the great Sir Perseverando. I am Grantilla Monterey Belton, the love man. I love you. Love and I care for you. I am the law man. And if you have any problems, and if you don't like what I'm saying, turn the channel. Matter of fact, much respects to you. If you want to do further studies, then of course you can have access to the videos or you look to the website. Make certain that you know that certain things push and pull in the universe. So don't hold people all the time to what everything that you may read and see. It is there, but sometimes in a general situation to be accessible. But sometimes certain situations must pull from that, and it must be a special operation. And that's why we have the Aboriginal Consular Court and Sula Tribunal, because we're performing on everything that was evaded at Commerce by so-called finance under bankruptcy, and they defrauded the commercial people. They defrauded the Aboriginal. It says that's the definition of bankruptcy. One who defrauded its creditors, which is fraud. Okay, so when you're pointing your fingers at one